Hey friends, this week we are diving into a topic that is really, not talked about much. We don't see much about it online. Talking about grief, we don't really know how to experience and share and really be there for our friends, and let alone know how to care for ourselves if we have experienced a loss, especially late in our pregnancy, which is why this week's guest is super, super special and near and dear to my heart. Jennifer Senn, she's a certified life coach and pregnancy loss coach. She is helping women navigate and walking hand in hand as they walk through the pain of losing their child, whether it's happened here within the last, this year, or if it's happened 20 plus years ago. This is a loss that nobody can get over. So this week's episode, I'm asking her all the questions, talking about her story and how she recovered and the journey that she's been on since she lost her twin girls at 32 weeks gestation, how she managed to stay sane when she got pregnant again, how her marriage held up, how it impacted her relationship with her husband of 30 plus years. We're diving into it all. And then really, if we haven't experienced this loss, you still want to give this a listen, because we're talking about grief. We're talking about all of these things that are impacting us, whether or not we've lost a child, but definitely losing different things, or we're knowing we have our girlfriends that are experiencing this very lonely and fearful thing. And I'm asking her the questions. I'm asking, how can we be there for our sisters? How can we show up for them? How can we let them know that we care? And her answer is really going to surprise you. It's really simple, and it's some really practical ways to help and be supportive to your sister, your friend, your daughter, whomever it is that has experienced the loss of their baby. So tune in. We're diving in. We're talking all things this week. Do you want to live a beautiful life that reflects the truth of who you are? Be bold and courageous as you step into your heartfelt desires. How does trusting yourself fully and connecting with your soul's purpose sound? The Unplanned Mom podcast is a potent mix of real life stories, practical spiritual teachings, and a community to help guide you for eternity. This is the place for inspiration with down-to-earth tools to help you pivot and continue to live your best life beyond your wildest dreams. Here we honor your deepest, authentic truth, embrace motherhood, talk all things money, mindset, and most importantly, miracles. So are you ready to say yes to all of this? If so, then let's dive in. I'm your host, Ashley Bush, and I have been praying for you, and I cannot wait to get to know you better. Let's go. All right, welcome back to the Unplanned Mom Show. I'm super, super excited because I have got my very first guest here on the show, and cannot wait to introduce you to Jennifer Senn. So welcome, Jennifer.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be your first guest, and I know it's just the first of many really fun conversations for you, so it's good.
Yes. I know you're a little bit ahead of me in the podcasting game. I know you started a month or two before me, but yes, very similar. I know I'm going to let you share and talk about exactly what you're doing and the audience that you serve, because we both really at the heart of it have a passion to serve women and let them just really live their absolute best lives. So I'm just really honored that you are here, and just welcome you, and just absolutely love to see you and see your face, because we'll dive into all of this, but just for our listeners, we can quickly kind of share how we know one another. I always like to know that information. Do you want me to share? You want to share, or?
Well, I can share. So we just kind of met through a few mutual business building groups, and just really instantly had a connection, because I think we're both so passionate about helping women, about helping moms especially. Mm-hmm. And, navigate all the things that moms do. So, yeah, I think that's how we connected. And it's been just a great connection, collaboration, and friendship all the way through. So,
yes, exactly. I know. The minute I heard you talk, I was like, oh my gosh, that's somebody I so want to be friends with. Like, you've got a heart of gold, and you are just doing amazing things. So, which leads into my next question. Tell us what you're doing, who you're serving, or maybe better yet, let me backtrack. I'm going to take a step back. Tell us really how what led you to like this path that you're on, because you serve a very unique, special group of women that have gone through something that, we wish on nobody. And so talking about pregnancy loss, do you want to share like really what kind of share your story, because I know it's a hard one, but it's something that affects a lot of women, or maybe our listeners, it's affected them, or it's somebody that they know, which unfortunately, people lose their babies, and it's really just, it's a hard thing. And I'm, luckily I haven't experienced that type of loss that far along in a pregnancy. So I don't want to make you cry.
No, I'm good. No.
I'll let you share, because it's a very special service and story that you have.
Thank you. Well, I am a pregnancy loss recovery coach, and how that came to be is really just, serving women. My whole career, I was a hairstylist and a salon owner, and then I became a business consultant. And what I really noticed was there was a theme among women who struggled in business and struggled with self-esteem, with maybe experiencing a previous loss. So it just really, it's always been on my heart. My husband and I had 2 little boys about 9 years into our marriage, and then we had twin girls who were stillborn at 32 weeks. So it rocked our world, and it really set the tone for a lot of years of, just self-esteem issues. I was afraid of the future. I didn't trust my body. I didn't trust myself. I, had so much guilt. And then in the midst of trying to keep my marriage together and parenting and running a business. And so it just really just became apparent to me that this was something I really was feeling called to help women with, and to get through this time in their life and this horrible experience in the best way possible, if there is such a thing, because I did experience coaching. It changed my life. It had me looking at things in such a different light. And now I live a life that I never imagined that I could. I had my, I did have a rainbow baby after, and that came with its own challenges and fears and everything else. So I just really love the work that I get to do now, which is walk women through their challenges, through this really challenging time that can last, many years. It's not just, society wants us just to pretend that everything is fine. Oh, within 6 months, she's good to go. She's all back to normal. And that is the farthest thing from the truth. These are lifelong lasting effects. So I work with women really at any stage to try to walk through that and just create a new future and have some more hope and honoring their baby that they've lost. So
it's absolutely beautiful. And I love that you are so vulnerable and sharing your story and courageous, because I think we hold on to a lot of things like that, and we try to internalize it because people they don't know how to relate or listen to you, like your friends. And so I know that you just give that safe space for your clients to come to you and talk to you, and they can listen and know that there's a better way, like not a better way, but there's a way to process and to live life. Yeah. And so as you were talking, I've got a couple questions that came to mind. I think first, for our listeners too, and talking, because both of us have experienced and used, I know I have used counseling and coaching, just kind of what the difference is. And I know we each kind of have our own different methods when we are working with our clients, but do you want to share a little bit kind of your take on how coaching in your program and what you offer is different than probably what somebody might be typically used to if they're going to go sit and work with a medical professional in the sense of getting therapy services?
Yeah, absolutely. And there's definitely, I think, room for either or and both in a lot of cases. Sure. And, typically a doctor may send you to a therapist, that they're affiliated with first. And it's great, but therapy does, they work a lot in your past. They, they work in a lot of past trauma, which stillbirth and baby loss certainly is. But, what I love about coaching, and for me, what was different from, because I did definitely do some therapy, but what I loved about coaching is that, you touch a little bit on what happened. Certainly that's a part of you, but you really focus on what's going on right for you right now, what's happening right now in the present, and where you want to go, because you do get to create that future that you want. And what I love to do and what I think is so helpful for my clients is to just put those together. What you're dealing with right now with your baby loss, that's, never going to leave you. And so let's find a way that you can honor this baby that you've lost in your future for the rest of your life, but still, release that guilt and go on and live an amazing life.
Yeah. Yeah. That's beautiful. So well said. Yeah. So when you are talking about honoring your baby, do you like to, would you care to share how you've honored your babies? Yes.
Yeah, it's so funny because I think lots of times I do it unconsciously even, but there's signs of them everywhere. I have different plants in my garden that I will choose that I think remind me of them, or different statues throughout my house, candles. There's, what was I thinking? Oh, there was somebody gave me a gift one time of these little stars, and there were two of them to represent the twins. Just different. And every time you walk by them and look at them, that they're there. And so it's just really, I think you just set up your environment to always have things around you that remind you of your baby.
Yeah. Yeah. That's beautiful. I know. I've got very similar things for my couple miscarriages that I have, kind of think of those little babies and have little statues. But I know anybody that's listening to, on social media, follow Navigating Baby Loss, because I know you've shared just kind of when you're inspired and you feel the presence of your babies. I remember one post very vividly. It was like the flowers or one of your plants. It was outside. It was beautiful. And you just had a very nice message in a photo. And it was just a good reminder that it doesn't have to be anything spectacular. I mean, it's really just finding those small moments throughout the day and just honoring that feeling and sitting with it and just remembering. And we just have to feel those feelings in the exact moment that we're in.
Yeah, I think that's the most important part, is that so many times we want to stuff those feelings away, and if I don't see anything, then it won't remind me of it. It won't make me sad, but it's really the opposite.
Yes.
The more you can put things in your environment, in your path, that make you think of your babies, baby or babies, whatever it is, the more connected you feel to them, because they're connected to you always.
Yeah. Yeah. So you were talking to earlier, relationships is a big part, I think, of, an impact on a couple. When we experience a loss, no matter how far along it affects relationships. Do you want to walk through or have an example, or even your own example, just what that looked like, because, and it's going to be different for everybody, but what advice would you have for anybody that maybe is in the exact same shoes as you, no matter when they've had a loss and there's trouble and they're having trouble with their spouse and feeling maybe alone and their spouse doesn't relate, or whatever the case may be? What advice do you have for the woman that's listening and having trouble with their partner right now with the same issue?
Yes. So this is such a hot topic, because men in general grieve differently than we do. And then you have this experience that really happened within your body, so it's again, another, once removed experience from them, and they are trying so hard to understand it. They can't understand it lots of times. And I think what we forget is lots of times they have their own grief process, and it's very different from ours. So my advice really is to acknowledge that they are grieving. Yeah. It may not seem like it. It's definitely not the way we do it, but they have their own process of grieving. And, sometimes when I look back, I can't believe the strength that my husband had to come up with to call our parents and tell them that, our babies were gone. And then he had to come home and tell we had little boys at the time. He had to tell them that, mommy's in the hospital and that this is happening and the babies aren't coming home. The babies we talked about for, so long. And, and all the while he was trying to be so strong for me. And then one day we had, I kind of got frustrated. And so we were having words about it. And I said, you act like you don't even care. Do you not even care that all this happened? You act like everything's fine and you're just going about your life. And he said to me, I don't want to talk about it with you because I'm afraid it'll make you cry.
Aww.
And it's like, and what they don't know is that's exactly what we need. And we need to cry. We need to see them cry. We need all that. But I think just if we can release some of the responsibility from them, that, that's a huge gift to them. And the divorce rate with couples who have experienced stillbirth loss is about 25%.
Oh, wow.
Because there are a lot of relationship issues that come with it. So it's worth paying attention to. For
sure. Yeah. I mean, yes, that's heartbreaking. I mean, but it's, lots of things can, I don't want to just, maybe just say trip us up, along life. Like I always kind of think too, it's loss. It's, somebody getting really ill. It's somebody getting into a car accident. I mean, all of these things that can just really wreck our whole world, and comes down to our feelings and being able to communicate with one another, and just how important that is when you have a spouse. And I think too, I mean, you're spot on. I mean, men and women, we process things much differently. We do. And that's just at the core of how we're built and how we're wired. And I think being able to talk to other women that have gone through similar situations is so key in anything that's going on in our life, and let alone something so not unique, but something that's very rare, and just, not everybody in your circle has gone through that loss and doesn't understand like somebody can that has gone through it and experienced the exact same thing. And I think just even knowing that one other person has gone through it and has survived and come out on the other side. I mean, because how many years have you and your husband been married now? I mean,
it's going to be 32 next Thursday, tomorrow.
That just gives me goosebumps. I mean, and you've got 4 kids.
320 somethings.
Yep.
Okay. They're all 20.
But you've got a full family. I mean, you have experienced a lot of things and the ups and downs, and it's just, I think even just one person that could be listening to you and knowing that they are not alone in what they're feeling. I mean, you're going to impact and just have this ripple effect on so many women that are just on this journey, and let them feel less alone, and let them know that there is hope and it will get better. And it's just beautiful what you're doing. But
thanks.
Yeah. So what else? I know you do so many amazing and incredible things, and you've got an awesome video series on your website. You've got your podcast too, if people are interested in learning more about this topic. Is there anything else that you really want to share, dive in, that you think that our audience would be really interested in learning more about? So I'm just to quickly, I mean, I'm getting to know our audience more. So of course, a lot of women. We've got a lot of women that are on here. Yeah. So it's a lot of like that girlfriendy kind of vibe. So again, they might not be on here and listen and have had this exact experience, but maybe the bigger question is, what would you tell them if they know somebody that this has happened to them? Like, what could they say to their friend that has experienced this loss? Because I think this is a topic that you cover on too, is those awkward things that people say. And it's just, but on our end, if we haven't walked on that path, it's hard for us because we feel uncomfortable. And I think death makes us all feel uncomfortable. So what would you tell somebody that's listening and they want to be that supportive friend, sister, niece, whatever? Like, what do we do? Tell us what we can do to be supportive.
I love this. This is one of my topics that fires me up every single time. And I think it's so important to know what to do, what to say, because the statistics are 1 in 4 pregnancies end in miscarriage. 1 in, I think it's like 130 right now. COVID increased our numbers a little bit with stillbirth. And so, this is stuff that you need to have in your back pocket. So what I would love for you to just get from this is, the less you say, the better. Just say, I'm sorry. I hate that you're dealing with this. Mm-hmm. I'm here to listen when you're ready to talk. Mm-hmm. I'm going to drop off a bag of groceries or dinner. Honestly, just in texting, thank the Lord for texting, right? You don't even have to come up with the words, just text them. Hey, you don't have to text back, but I want to let you know that I'm thinking of you. And especially if you know the baby's name, say the baby's name. Yeah. They want to hear it. They want to know that people know their baby and remember their baby. I think just, and just realize that you're never going to make it better. So there's nothing you can say to make it better. So don't even attempt it with things like, at least you were young, or at least you can have another one, or, God has a plan for, God always works things out, or must have needed an angel. Like, we don't want to hear those things.
Yeah.
But none of those things would make anything better.
Right. Yeah.
So,
I like that. Yeah. The less is more, and you're there to listen. And
yeah. Just let them know. I would love to hear all about your baby when you're ready.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I love that. I love the simplicity, because I think we can overcomplicate things sometimes, trying to be helpful, trying to see a way to be this, person, and we overthink and overcomplicate. So I love that. Just reminders, and then telling people,
best
getting them
of intentions. Right. Yes. People have the best of intentions, but it can be very damaging when you're in that season.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. I could totally see that. Now, this is probably based onto the relationship, but and we all grieve differently. So what's like the time frame, I mean, do you just keep always checking in? Maybe when that person comes to mind, you're like, hey, thinking of you and the baby, do you just, should you be done? Like, is it a month out, or can you do it all the time? I mean, that's sometimes my struggle. When I know somebody's going through something, it's just kind of figuring out that cadence. Like, you don't want to be annoying, but you want them to know that you were thinking of them and you're there for them. So I don't know. Any thoughts on that with grief?
Yes. I can tell you, whenever you think of it, do it. Okay. I don't care if it's been 20 years, do it.
Yeah. Okay.
Hey, I was just thinking about, I was just thinking about that time in your life and thinking about you and your babies and what you went through. And I just want to know that, I admire you, or whatever you want to say.
Yeah.
Whatever it is that you want to say. 100%. Yeah. Because as the bereaved mother, that is what you want more than anything, is for other people to not forget your baby, which is easy when they're not visible, they're not visible. People do, it's just natural. People kind of forget about, oh yeah, now I remember that. So if someone ever will, and periodically some people will come up and remember it, and you're like, oh, okay, it just feels good. So
okay.
Anytime.
I love that. And then another question I wanted to ask you is, when you had your rainbow baby, how did you, I know after having my miscarriage, I wasted so much worry, but how did you deal with being pregnant after your loss? How did you work through that?
It was terrible.
Yeah.
It was terrible.
Okay. I don't mean to laugh, but yes.
Oh, it was. Yeah. It was what I wanted more than anything. My heart was so broken. My arms were empty. I wanted more than I knew that was not the end of my story. I knew I wanted another baby. So it was about 4 or 5 months after my loss that I was pregnant again. And, and my doctor, who's so amazing, he said, well, your days of having a worry-free pregnancy are over. This one's never going to be like you remember the others. And it was so true.
Right.
So my advice for that, for sure, is to have a great relationship with your doctor. They were so amazing to me, as far as, they said, anytime that you worry, anytime if you're scared, just come up. We'll do a heartbeat check. We'll do a scan, whatever we need to do to put your mind at ease. Because there were, and I didn't do it very often, but there were a few times when I needed to just have a little peace of mind, because that fear can really work on you. And I think that was probably such a blessing for me, is to have them on my side, have them right behind me the whole way. And just tell yourself and know for sure that every pregnancy is different. If you've ever, I had 2 children before my loss, and those pregnancies were very different. So certainly, it doesn't have to always be like your experience. So,
yeah, very true. Good advice. Yes. Every pregnancy, every child, everything is totally different. Yes.
They are. Yeah.
Awesome. So real quickly, how can people follow along? Tell us. I know you're on Instagram. Okay. You're also on TikTok. Give us a lowdown.
I'm on Instagram. I'm on TikTok. My website is jennifersenn.com. I have lots of free resources there that are helpful for, whatever you're dealing with. I have a free video series that is really helpful, I think. So yeah, just join me
it
there.
Is super helpful. Okay.
Thanks. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to put links to all of the things that you just mentioned. We'll have all of those in the show notes as well. So people can just easily, if they're done listening, hop on, follow you along. I mean, even if again, wherever you're at in your journey, if Jennifer's story is resonating with you, just follow along, because unfortunately, as she mentioned earlier, the numbers are up and the numbers are going up, and women are going to need more support than ever. And, just if you're following along with her and at some point you come across another woman that is on a similar journey or has a loss, and we don't want this to happen, but you'll be following Jen, and you can always just share and send their information. Share it with the mom. I mean, what would you recommend somebody? So if they are listening and let's say a month, 2 months from now, they remember this conversation and they're like, how should they just grab the link and just say, I'm thinking of you, or maybe I've heard the story. If you were in their shoes and you had just lost your baby right now, what would you want your friend, how would you want to be introduced to you?
Yeah, I think here's someone who gives real advice, who's been through it. Because I remember when I first was experiencing my loss, of course, this was pre-social media days even, and all I wanted was for someone who had been through it to tell me I was going to be okay. Yeah. To tell me like, okay, you're going to get through this. You're going to be okay. Because there's a lot of times when you just don't think you can breathe anymore. And so I think, yes, having a resource of someone who's been through it, who, can show you to the other side and who can help you every step of the way would have been, that's why I do what I do, because this is what I wanted.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're helping women that not only recently lost their baby. I mean, you have women that are reaching out that have lost their baby long time ago, years and years ago, because it's not something that we ever lose. It's a part of us. It's always a part of you. And so, yeah, I think that's just incredible. The healing work that is yet to be done for all these women that, what you're doing is so just refreshing and so needed, because there's nothing out there like it. I mean,
Thank you. Yes. So that would be great.
This has just been a pleasure. I love always just seeing you and being with you, and just am really excited to be on this journey. And I'm just so honored that you were here, and you were my official first guest here at the Unplanned Mom Show.
It is awesome. Thank you so much. I'm so honored, and I'm so thankful that God put me in your path, put you in my path, put us in each other's path.
I know. So it's
a blessing all the way around for us and for everyone that we are working with. So
yes, for sure.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you. So yeah, everybody grab Jennifer's contact info, any information you want to grab or follow along with her. It's all going to be in the show notes. And I think we'll just kind of wrap up. It was just so fun to see you, and I will catch everybody next week. So take care. Okay, my sweet mamas, if you're tuning in and have got a friend's name that just keeps bubbling up at the top of your head as you've been listening to this episode, go ahead. I want you to grab that link, copy and paste it, and shoot them a quick text and just tell them that you were thinking of them. After all, we're all here to help each other. And if this episode resonated with you, there's a pretty good chance that something in it will resonate with them as well. This show is for you, so do me a solid. Go ahead, share it with that one person that comes to mind so we can spread the love to all of our sisters. And if you really, really loved it, it would mean the world to me if you would leave a review. All right, thank you, my sweet friends. Thanks so much for tuning in. I will see you all next week. And if you need any more inspiration between now and then, come on over and check us out on TikTok. See you soon.